Buenos días. Para dar inicio entonces a esta entrevista con Uri Levine, cofundador de Waze. Encantado por estar aquí con nosotros en IT Now. Y quería iniciar, Uri, ¿cuál es o cómo nace Waze? ¿Verdad? Es un poco para poder hablar acerca de esto, de conocer cuáles son las raíces de Waze, que conocemos que se creó en 2010.
So we started in 2007, but it's actually started before that when I was running into traffic jams and I tried to figure out which route should I take. And it was when I was in Israel with my family. We were traveling up north, and Israel is a small place, so essentially there are only two main roads that you can go back to Tel Aviv. And I was sort of lucky because people that we were spending the vacation with, them, they actually returned a bit earlier, like half an hour earlier. And so I started to call them up and try to understand how is traffic like on their route. And then I realized that the only thing that I need is someone ahead of me on the road that will tell me what's going on. And so Waze essentially is a social network of drivers that we, the drivers, are helping other drivers to avoid traffic jams. So essentially, a red social for conductores para conductores.
Muy bien. Con respecto también a esta parte, Uri, queríamos conocer un poco, a una vez que fue comprada por Google, ¿cuál es la intención? Es decir, porque además hay o sea, son pocas las aplicaciones sobre transporte, pero ¿ha gustado y cuál ha sido esa respuesta de la gente al utilizar Waze? ¿Cómo lo han aceptado? ¿Cuál ha sido ese feedback que le han dado a ustedes alrededor de la región, de los países de la región?
In particular, in Latin America, there are much more people using Waze than there are using Google Maps, right? And at the end of the day, Google acquired Waze because of the frequency of use. People that are using Waze, using that every time that they leave the house, every time that they go into the car, they use Waze. And with Google Maps, you usually use it when you need to go to someplace that you don't know how to get there. And so the purpose was different. The frequency of use was dramatically higher at Waze. And as a result, Google looked at it and say, okay, this is actually better than what we have done, and decided to acquire Waze.
Ok. ¿Cómo se financia Waze? Porque indiscutiblemente somos los usuarios, los conductores que utilizamos Waze, pero ¿cuál es el financiamiento que recibe Waze para poderse subsistir y mantenerse a flote?
So Waze has an advertisement platform. It's an advertisement platform, and we, promote things for drivers when they stuck in traffic. That's the best way to promote things to them. We have built that only. We started to build the business model only in 2012, and so when Google acquired us, we had very little revenues. But today it's much bigger than that. It's probably order of magnitude of maybe $500 million.
Muy bien, pero recibe publicidad, es decir, se mantiene gracias a alguna publicidad en particular que se sostiene Waze, porque bueno, al entrar los conductores lo que hacemos es reportar ciertas situaciones que vemos en carretera, pero ¿cómo se subsiste Waze?
So all drivers are connected through the central system, right? And so if you're driving on the road and let's say there is an accident and you report that there is an accident, then immediately the server knows that based on your location and driving direction, where exactly the accident is. And then it starts to alert the rest of the drivers that are coming up the same road that there is an accident ahead of them or a speed trap or accident or whatever it is. And so we essentially use crowdsource for everything. The entire content being used by the application is generated by data drivers.
Con la aplicación de Waze es posible, Uri, que se puedan eliminar las presas, es decir, este aumento de tráfico de vehículos que van transitando en las calles, en las diversas ciudades alrededor de los países en los que tiene presencia Waze. ¿Se puede eliminar las presas si todos estuvieran conectados a Waze y siguieran el punto de referencia que les está brindando Waze?
No, but I think that, you know, you look at traffic jams today and then they're more severe than they were 10 years ago, right? So obviously, even in Santiago de Chile are using Waze, there's still a lot of traffic jams, right? And so Waze can optimize traffic jams by sort of distributed evenly the traffic across multiple alternative routes. But the nature of the beast of traffic jams is that we, the drivers, are creating them by essentially occupying too much space on the road, right? So for a second, I want you to think of a highway. And in that highway, during the busy hour, think of one lane and a strip of 1 kilometer, right? 1 kilometer, one lane. In this one lane, there are about 40 to 45 vehicles. In these 45 vehicles, there are 50 people. That's it. So 50 people are occupying 1 kilometer of road. And the challenge is that as long as we don't change the ratio of number of people per vehicle to something that is much higher than 1 or 1.1 people per vehicle, we will be stuck in traffic. Now, public transportation definitely does that. Ride sharing, carpool definitely does that. And so as long as we are still driving our own cars to go to the office, we will be stuck in traffic. If we will start to use an efficient public transportation system, then we're going to be in a much better position.
Porque, por ejemplo, aquí en Costa Rica, que es donde yo resido, digamos, el Ministerio de Obras Públicas y Transportes, que es la entidad oficial que vela por los transportes en Costa Rica, ha tenido alianzas con Waze, precisamente para poder subsanar diversos problemas que siempre surgen en las calles ante el aumento de tráfico, etc. Waze puede ayudar, o cuáles son esos retos también que se les presenta a Waze para ayudar a los gobiernos y subsanar estos problemas que hay siempre de tráfico ante aumento de tantos carros que hay en las calles. ¿Cuáles son los retos que se les puede presentar con los gobiernos? ¿Se han acercado a cada uno de ellos en los diversos países?
So essentially, Waze can optimize the current infrastructure, right? Current volume of cars into the current infrastructure, right? So think of San Jose, for example, and the Waze would know how long do you wait to make a left turn on each and every traffic light in the city every day of the week, every time of the day, right? And then you can go and optimize the traffic control center that you increase the volume and therefore reduce the traffic. But the nature of the beast is different. We simply have too many drivers in cities, and that's what creates traffic jams. And this is what we need to reduce, the number of cars, because the infrastructure is never going to be ready for the volume. The volume is increasing that fast, and infrastructure is growing much slower.
Muy bien. Con respecto a la ciberseguridad, ¿cómo está este tema? Es decir, hay un planteamiento, una estrategia robusta, muy fuerte para evitar que sea infiltrada. Ahora que ya vemos el aumento de tantos casos de ciberataques, ¿cómo está este tema, Uri? En la plataforma, claro, de Waze.
So I think that Waze is pretty safe, essentially, in terms of hacking into the system, because it's essentially a centralized system. But if you take that in a more generic way and you think about the world, then I would ask you how good the police is capturing thieves, right? And at the end of the day, the crime is evolving faster than the authorities or the police and so forth. So we cannot prevent the future one. We cannot prevent the next one. What we can prevent is as soon as we realize that here is a leak, here is a problem, here is a breach, we can shut that down and prevent more of the same. And that's the industry of cybersecurity in general. We are chasing our tail, and the industry is doing a good job in doing that. And therefore, the number of attempts is probably 100 times bigger or 1,000 times bigger than the actual what we see as damage. But the innovations in attacking is going to be much faster than the innovations in preventing those attacks.
Oh, perfect. Con respecto a las tendencias tras la pandemia, ¿ha habido algún cambio en el uso de la plataforma de Waze? ¿Ha provocado alguna aceleración en el uso por la pandemia o más bien la gente lo ha dejado de utilizar? ¿Cuál ha sido esa tendencia que ustedes han visto tras la pandemia? O, bueno, no hemos terminado la pandemia de por sí.
And people are using it more, which basically means that they're using less public transportation. So people are afraid, and therefore they're not riding public transportation, and they should have because of traffic jams, right? And so the result is that there is a general increase of maybe 20% in traffic today comparing to the days before the pandemic. And this is, the infrastructure is unable to handle the volume. And so you would be feeling today in San Jose more traffic jams than there were 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. ¿Cuáles son los planes de expansión que tiene la plataforma para poder estar presente en otros países? ¿Hace falta algunos países por los cuales se deba insertar o deban estar presentes?
So to an extent, I would say I don't know, right? I left Waze some years back, and I don't know what are the plans. When I left, Waze was actually in most of the countries in the planet, and this is still the case, right? So if you travel anywhere in Central America, anywhere in Latin America, anywhere in Europe, many places in Asia, obviously North America, then you can use Waze there. There are a few places that I don't think that there is Waze there. Japan is one of them, and China is another one. But pretty much everywhere else there is Waze.
También para las empresas, un poco de dar esos consejos de cómo debe ser esa correcta y exitosa transformación digital. Usted que está en una empresa que es nativa digital, ¿cuáles deben ser esas formas correctas que deben tomar las empresas hoy en día para alcanzar esa exitosa digitalización?
So when we're thinking of digital transformation, we should think of two things, right? So number one is, can I use digital tools in order to improve my operation, right? And this is what usually in most of the cases we will see. The other transformation is actually changes of behavior of our customers, right? Is there a new offering that I can offer to my customer that is going to be different than what I'm offering today? And this new offering, is that better or even larger than what I currently have? And these are two separate ones, right? So digital transformation, in many cases, we look at companies that are improving their operation through embedding digital tools and so forth. But the other one is innovation and disruption, right? So I'm basically saying, wait a minute, even though that I have a supermarket, I'm now actually building an online supermarket service, right? And this is a new offering, very different one. In particular, during COVID, we have seen that e-commerce has, made a 10 years leap in the last year and a half. And this is new offering. A new offering requires basically starting from the beginning, right? So what is the problem we're trying to solve? who are the users? Let's go and speak with those users and understand what's their perception of the problem, and only then go and build a solution for them.
¿Qué novedades en cuanto a funciones viene con Waze? Es decir, ¿cuáles son esas nuevas funciones que van a traer? Porque ya hemos visto la posibilidad de poder reportar policías, ¿verdad? Reportar alguna situación en calle, hasta puntos hemos visto. ¿Qué otras novedades van a traer que están pensando para incorporar en la plataforma?
So again, I'm no longer there, and I don't know, but I would say that carpool is actually turns out to be pretty significant for Waze, and in order to reduce traffic, and this turns out to be in some countries very efficient in reducing traffic. So you can ride with someone else and share the expenses of fuel and using the car, and at the same time reduce traffic.
Estarán pensando, por ejemplo, sabemos que están en las tiendas de Apple, así como en las tiendas de Android, pero ahora hay mucho más tiendas, por ejemplo, como la de Huawei, la que están creando. ¿También pensarán acondicionarlo para que los usuarios de esta telefónica puedan descargar también la aplicación de Waze?
Waze is running on all the major platforms. And so Huawei is good, the LG is good, the Samsung, Apple is good. All of them are running Waze.
Okay, thank you very much, Uri. It's nice to meet you.